Welcome to Getting Heated, the place to debate and discuss all things surf related. With the championship tour back on hold due to COVID-19, who really misses out the most by the cancellation of the Sunset Pro? Also up for debate, the greatest surfing that's ever been done in history. Are we seeing it now from John John Florence? Who needs this surprise break from tour the most to go back to the drawing board and make some improvements? And was Pipe Masters the top performance we'll see from Slater all year, or is the best yet to come? This week, we're going deep into the controversial topic of the women's CT competing at Pipeline. Yep, we're going there. Let's get these heats started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the maiden episode of Getting Heated. I'm Dave Prodan, temporarily on loan from the Lineup podcast, to moderate the true stars of the show, Coolangatta's Mick Fanning, a three-time world champion and amateur marine biologist, and Hawaii's Ross Williams, former CT standout and the most tolerable member of the Momentum generation. Apologies to no one. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, Dave. Good to see you, Ross. Let's get into this.
All right, Mick and Dave, thanks for having me. Let's do it.
So Getting Heated is a place for discussion, debate, and even disputes on all things surf-related. And it's time for the opening exchange, Heat 1. Let's address the elephant in the room. The previously scheduled events at Sunset Beach and Santa Cruz have been canceled and postponed, respectively, due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. To that end, which singular surfer do you believe misses out the most with the cancellation of the championship tour event at Sunset Beach? Ross, we'll start with you.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But when I think of Sunset and Santa Cruz, which is postponed, collectively, Jordy Smith's name really stands out. Jordy Smith was a real danger man this year. When I thought about Sunset or Santa Cruz, those two events for me were huge for Jordy. I feel like he's in his prime now. You know, the time is now in terms of winning a world title. So for those two events to get taken away, where I personally think he was the favorite, that's got to be a pretty big blow for him.
Yeah, Jordy's incredible out Sunset, but for me personally, I think the guy who's going to lose out the most is Jack Robbo. I know he's a rookie, but the surfing that he did in 2019 was out of this world. He finds waves out there that no one else finds. That could have been a huge result to shoot him up the ratings and make his life a little easier on his rookie year on tour.
No doubt Jack was one of the favorites, but I think the difference for me between Jack and Jordy is Jordy's, he's getting up there in age. I feel like this is his year to win, where Jack is a rookie. He's got all the time in the world to, get up there in the top five and get in that world title contention. So I feel like the pressure is pretty intense for Jordy and his camp. And when you take away, potentially Santa Cruz and Sunset, that's got to be pretty tough.
He's backed in the cement truck and just poured on more pressure for Jordy, huh?
He's a big boy. He can handle.
Well, we've talked about who's missing out. Let's talk about who's been on point. Heat 2. Is John John Florence, between his lead up to the Pipe Masters, through his win, and into his Haleiwa free surfing sessions, doing the best surfing right now in this window that has ever been done in history? Mick, let's start with you.
Straight off, no. Look, John John Florence is doing the best surfing of his career, yes. I think he's the best surfer in the world at the moment, yes. But the surfing that Andy Irons and Kelly Slater did from 2003 through to 2005, that was unmatched. Those guys were doing the best surfing and going so hard in so many different areas. It was just out of control. Being on tour at that time, you were just stoked if you got third. That was like winning the world title because they were untouchable. Not saying John's not ripping, but I don't think it's the best surfing we've seen in history. I think he's got a little bit more to get there.
Yeah, I think I'll disagree with you again. And here's the reason why. The question was, is John laying down the best surfing in the history of our sport? And if you just pinpoint one term, and that would be John at Haleiwa recently, I don't think that's ever been done before on a board. That hard, that long of a carve, that fast on that big of a wave. I think you could safely say that he's putting down some surfing that no one's done before, and that's just surfing, isn't it? Just that progression, it keeps getting stronger and faster and better, and I think John's at the top.
look, that turn is going to go down as an iconic turn in years to come. But doing that day in, day out for a year, then I'll give him the hat.
Yeah, I know. Well, the funny thing is for John, if we broaden this question, John's won a couple world titles handedly. He was on his way to third before he got injured. So he's got multiple world titles. He's won the Eddie Aikau, which in my book, that's a huge deal as being like one of the best surfers in history. 2 to 20 foot, the biggest airs that's been done in contest, barrels. The kid he's kind of at the top of all these categories. So it's a pretty big call to say that John's done the best surfing over guys like Kelly, even yourself and Andy and stuff. But there's definitely a pretty strong argument for it.
Oh, definitely a huge argument for it, but give me a couple more years.
That's fair enough.
Big praise from his coach. So we've debated whether or not we are seeing the world's best surfing right now before our very own eyes. Let's talk about those who are not performing at their best. Heat 3. Based on the surfing you both saw in and around Honolulu Bay and Pipeline, which men's or women's surfers most need to use this surprise gap in competition to reset and go back to the drawing board? Ross, we'll start with you.
That's a loaded question. I feel like that has a lot of nuance to it. So that's a tough one to just pinpoint on one person. And I'd almost say in terms of who needs a break, I'm going to say no one. Whether you're someone who finished last at Pipe or you're John and won, I think it's to everyone's advantage to get this thing going. We just had the longest break ever with this pandemic. So I don't think anyone really wants to just, sort of reboot and try and figure out what's going wrong. I think the best way to get rid of a bad result is to get back on the horse.
I know you don't want to put anyone in a shoebox, but look, for me, Julian Wilson is someone that I think needs to add a little bit more spice into it. He had a tough year in 2019. I thought he was going to come out the Tweed Coast Pro and just look incredible. To me, he looked a smidgen sluggish. And then I know he was injured at Pipe. That could be great for the break as well to get that injury back in check. But I still feel like there's something missing. There's a small ingredient for someone who should be a top 5 surfer every day of the week. He needs to be in that title race come Trestles. So, look, I would love for him to just turn up the volume a little bit and really push these guys that are at the top at the moment.
I like it, Mick. Just putting some heat on Julian there. And that kind of inspired me. There is one guy, too, that I would like to call out a little bit that was, didn't look that great at Pipe, and that was Felipe. I know Felipe is not, one of the guys you think about at Pipe to do well there, but man, he's been on tour for how long now? He should be able to put up a decent performance and grind out like a 9th or a 5th. And he straight up looked like he didn't want to be there. I didn't see him free surfing that much at Pipe. He just, had a bad performance. But again, I go back to, I don't think the break does anyone service, but yeah, if I'm going to pick on someone, you inspired me. You picked on Julian, I'll pick on Felipe.
Look, if these guys want to win world titles, man, you have to give it all at every break. And, I think they will look in the mirror and go, look, I've got to be better here and there.
Well, whether they like it or not, they all have some time on their hands right now. And time is actually the operative word for our 4th topic of the day, as time and tide wait for no man. Heat 4. Soon to be 49-year-old Kelly Slater started the Pipe Masters with a round 1 win on a Dane Key Aloha inspired twin fin before ultimately surfing to an equal 3rd place result. So here's the question. Was the 2020 Billabong Pipe Masters presented by Hydro Flask the last highlight performance of the 11-time world champion, or a sign of more to come? Mick, as you've most recently done battle with him in a jersey, please start us off.
Look, I'm not going to say it's the last highlight reel of Kelly Slater. He's going to have moments throughout the year. My one thing I would say is that Kelly's going away from his strengths. I think he's trying to match it in the air with these guys and riding these short boards, which ultimately just shortens his turn. Bring back the Kelly Slater of that huge carve. He's got a statue of it. I want to see him on a longer board with a little bit more rail and whipping that carve. I feel like he's in the tube. he's still one of the greatest of all times. He can match it with anyone. But on the face, I feel like he's lacked over the last few years, and I think that's due to equipment.
If Kelly is listening to this show or you're watching, you need to hire Mick, because that was really good advice. I couldn't agree with you more. I think Kelly, I don't know what it is with, once surfers get older, they start freaking out and riding trippy boards, and that's definitely affected Kelly in the performance surfing. But Dave, your question was, will that be, a sign of more results to come? There is a little bit there. As long as we're going to have the guys suit up at Tahiti, if we can get to G-Land, if we're lucky enough, Kelly is going to be arguably the guy to beat. So throughout these selected events, Kelly's always going to, as long as he's not injured, is going to be, right there at the very top. But that gap is getting bigger for performance waves. These guys, it's really tough for Kelly to match them when it comes to big airs and performance surfing.
Yeah, the kids these days are across the board incredible. We just spoke about John. He's incredible at pipeline. To combo Kelly at pipe, I think that stigma's starting to lose a little bit. But look, Kelly go back to his strengths, ride a board that allows him to hold on to that turn a little bit more. I think we're going to see some more incredible surfing from the GOAT.
Yeah, let's not going to hold my breath on that one. He's got that twin fin right by his bed right now.
Oh, God.
Well, when competition returns, we'll see if Kelly's satisfied being the GOAT or if he wants to be in the mix this year in terms of top performers. And when the show returns, Mick and Ross are going to go deep into the many layers of the Women's Championship Tour event at Pipeline. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Getting Heated. I'm Dave Prodan, joined by the Mick Fanning and the Ross Williams. Guys, are you feeling good about your heat so far?
They've been fast. I'm not used to it.
So far, so good. I don't think I've ever had a real heat against Mick, so this is cool. It's better than nothing.
So for our final segment of the day, we are going deep on the topic of the hour. Following the cancellation of the remaining Maui Pro presented by Roxy Heats at Honolulu Bay due to the fatal shark attack on Tuesday, December 8th, the remaining surfers did battle for the first time ever for a Women's Championship Tour event at Pipeline. The surf was tricky, the barrels were few, the performances, both good and bad, set off an online debate about the women surfing at Pipeline. So our going deep question to both of you is, are the women ready for a full-time championship tour event at Pipeline? Ross, this show respects the locals, so we will start with you.
Not only is it, I think, in everyone's interest to have the women surf at Pipe, but I think it's necessary. I'm going to be honest here. There's not a whole lot of women that free surf at Pipe. So I think having an event at Pipe is going to really light a fire under all of them and force the issue. Are they capable? Yes, I'm a believer, but they do have a long way to go, Mick.
Yeah, look, I think it's one of those things. You need reps out Pipeline. It's a tough lineup to crack. But I think if there's an event there, they're going to get windows that are actually better. Do they have the skill to do it? Yes. I think people forget Pipeline's tricky no matter what. You go out there, the average heat score for the whole men's event was only 11.4, where the women's were 11. So, they're not that far behind, but if they know that they've got an event there, they're going to go and spend more time. And then on top of that, sitting with someone like yourself, sitting with people like Jamie O'Brien, Shane Dorian, like those amazing spot pipe specialists, they're going to learn so much more, and they're going to put on a better performance once they have a whole event there.
Here's another cool thing. Women have almost surpassed the men as far as, progression and, kind of moving forward in their sport. They've gone a long way in the last 5 years with airs, carves, strength, everything. It's really, really impressive, but not at places like Pipe, nowhere near in the same level. It's just one of those things where this is going to be cool. The contest is going to force the issue. And to be honest, I think they need it.
Yeah, look, speaking from personal experiences, when I wasn't in a title race, I'd rarely surf Pipe myself because I didn't have to be out there. So, look, I think if they have an event there, the girls are going to go and give it a good go. And I'm excited. As you said, the progression of women surfing has gone through the roof. As you say, I think it's surpassed the men. And I think the younger generation are really aiming for that. So in my opinion, look, now or never. That's the way it is for the women at Pipeline.
It sounds like both of you falling on the side of the event is going to engender more performance out there from the women, but you've both been around the traps long enough. I'm wondering about the timing of this event. If we'd had a pipe women's event 10 years ago, would that have made an impact, or did we need this generation of surfers? And then on the other side, should we wait 10 years for the next generation of surfers to come in and have a women's CT event at pipe? Ross, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, we can't wait. We got to get this show going. And to be honest, it's necessary because world champs like Stephanie Gilmore, Tyler Wright, I don't see them surfing at pipe. We've seen, Tatiana definitely charges out there, even though she's got, a lot of work to do. But, I haven't seen many highlights at all in any real gnarly barrels from Tyler or Steph, definitely not at pipe. So I don't think that's impossible. I think they're definitely capable, but I like the idea of needing to practice for pipe and Tahiti. It's going to light a fire under these world champs.
Yeah, look, I think we've seen glimpses of the women at Pipeline in past events, especially events here and there, and they've done great. As you say, I think they've got to go now. No disrespect to the women from 10 years ago, but maybe half of them didn't have the skill to go out there and do it. There was some girls that went out there and went absolutely nuts in Rochelle Ballard, Kiana Kennelly, Kate Scarrett. They're just three off the top of my head that wanted it. They wanted to go, and they were out there all the time. And I think that's what the next generation of women are going to do if this event's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. Rochelle Ballard and Kiala Kenley were super sendy. That was a huge inspiration for all the girls that sort of charge bigger waves and stuff. But yeah, this new crew that you brought up, Mick, they're deadly. Sierra Kerr, Pinkerton, Betty Lou, Sakura, those women, young women, are next level chargers. So to answer your question, Dave, in 10 years time or even 5 years time, we could see them, matching the men at pipe. We'll see.
We'll see. And for our viewers, appropriately enough, they can relive history with the WSL Presents the 2021 Maui, which will take you through a dramatic opening event of the season, which ended at the Bonsai Pipeline. It premieres this Tuesday, January 9th on worldsurfleague.com. And that's a wrap for the first episode of Getting Heated. All the opinions shared on today's show are not reflective of the World Surf League or its employees and affiliates. You can send all your disagreements to Mick and Ross's Instagram accounts, and we'll see you next time.
I don't answer my DMs, so Ross, take them all on board, brother.
That's good advice. I'm going to cancel my account now.
Do you like that? Well, if so, subscribe over there and then watch more videos over there. And then tell us your favorite videos down there. It's a 3-step process. Do them all now.